Some books don't ask to be read. They haunt you into reading them. And some writers don't write for fame, or beauty, or even clarity. They write like it's an exorcism. They're trying to bleed the poison out of consciousness itself. One of those writers was Émile Cioran. His most disturbing, dazzling, and deeply human work might just be The Trouble with Being Born. A book that reads like the personal diary of a man who never wanted to exist in the first place. But it's not just a book of despair, it's a mirror. A sharp-edged reflection of all the things we think, but never say. Émile Cioran was born in 1911 in a small Romanian village. His father was an Orthodox priest. His mother once told him she wished he'd never been born, a comment that, by his own admission, shaped his entire worldview. At the age of 21, Cioran moved to Paris, where he spent most of his life in near-complete obscurity, sleeping during the day, writing at night, and slowly unthreading the illusion that existence had any intrinsic meaning. He once said, "Only optimists commit suicide. The others are too weak to do it." This wasn't irony, it was the tone of a man who saw human consciousness as a kind of cosmic accident, an evolutionary mistake that made us aware of our own absurdity. His 1973 book, The Trouble with Being Born, isn't a story. It's not a philosophy textbook. It's not even really a cohesive argument. It's a collection of aphorisms, like lightning bolts of doubt, each one flashing for a moment, then disappearing into darkness. It is not worth the bother of killing yourself, since you always kill yourself too late. Life inspires more dread than death. It is life which is the great unknown. To live is to be other. It is not a question of choice, but of being condemned to it. At first glance, this seems like nihilism turned up to 11, but Cioran is doing something far more subtle. He's not trying to destroy meaning, he's trying to survive without it. He writes from a place beyond belief, beyond ideology, beyond the need to be reassured. Cioran doesn't offer answers, he offers companionship in the void. And that's part of what makes his work feel oddly comforting, because in a world obsessed with achievement, progress, and relentless positivity, Cioran gives you permission to feel the opposite, to feel tired, to feel empty, to feel like maybe, just maybe, being alive isn't something we asked for, and that's okay. Like Fernando Pessoa, Cioran blurs the line between author and character, between thought and emotion, between philosophy and confession. His aphorisms are like fragments from a consciousness breaking apart under the pressure of awareness. Yet, every now and then, there's a sliver of beauty in the rubble. No one recovers from the disease of being born. Only one thing matters: learning to be the loser. Lucidity is the wound closest to the sun. What's remarkable is that Cioran wasn't suicidal. He didn't retreat from the world. In fact, he walked the streets of Paris, had friends, listened to Bach, and refused to take his despair too seriously. He saw life as a comedy. A tragic comedy maybe, but a comedy nonetheless. This paradox of living while rejecting life echoes the ancient skeptics, the mystics, the absurdists. Cioran, like Pessoa, was a philosopher of contradiction. And perhaps that's what gives his work its strange gravity. It doesn't try to solve life, just tells the truth about what it feels like when life refuses to make sense. The Trouble with Being Born is a book that can't be finished. You don't read it, you absorb it slowly, like poison that tastes like medicine. It devastates, but it doesn't destroy. It's the kind of book that sits quietly on a shelf until one night at 2 a.m. it calls to you. It's not because you want answers, but because you want someone who understands what it's like to ask the unanswerable. Like Pessoa's Book of Disquiet, Cioran's work feels like it was written by someone who never quite existed in the world as we know it, a ghost among the living. And in a strange way, this absence gives his words their power because they don't pretend to offer hope. They offer honesty, and sometimes that's the rarest comfort of all.